Good morning. Thank you for joining us on our May 3rd virtual service. My name is Reverend Carmen Lucis. I'm the Associate Pastor of the Temple of the Living God here in St. Petersburg, Florida. I invite you to join me in prayer at this time. Infinite radiant source of all life, as we join together in this sacred, holy time, we acknowledge your presence and power working in and through us at all times. As we reconnect in our partnership with the divine, we remember that we each are sustained, illuminated, and supported at every level by Spirit. This day and every day, as we open our hearts and our minds to the perfect outworking of God in our life, we recognize the infinite creator of all life working for us. We celebrate the richness that this truth expresses in our life, in this very moment and every moment. We welcome opportunities to give thanks for the blessings in our lives as we move forward in our growth, understanding, and opportunities for love and peace to be expressed, even during these challenging times. With a grateful heart, we let go and let God to do its perfect work through us today and every day. And so it is. Amen. At this time, I'd like to share a reading from Daily Word, and it's entitled, Greater Unfolding. And I quote, "Every moment of my life is part of a greater unfolding. I have heard blessings in disguise, such as events that initially seem unjust, but eventually gave life to positive outcomes. I have experienced adversity that ultimately led to transformation. At such times, I remember that my life is part of God life, and God life invites me to an ever greater awareness and realization of good. I do not need to understand it completely nor explain it. Instead, I accept with faith that every part of my life, from the smallest coincidence to the largest joy or challenge, is part of a greater unfolding. I say yes to the loving activity of Spirit at work in my life today, as it is in the lives of all. It is a blessing to know that no matter the outer appearances, a higher order is at work." And so it is. And now, let us enjoy music by our own Carol Mitchell.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Carmen. And this song kind of ties in with the reading, because with all of the regulations and the social distancing, sometimes we forget about the passion in our lives. And that's what this song is about. It's a Karen Drucker song called Keep That Passion Burning. I've been down feeling heat. I've been bruised by all the heat. I've been trying to get ahead. Sometimes I feel I'm giving up instead. I know I've got to keep that passion burning in my soul. It seems so hard to find my way. There's so much to push through every day. Mountains to climb. I'm gonna use my will. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna keep that passion burning in my soul. 'Cause you don't know what you will find when you get to the other side. I can't hesitate. It might be too late. I'm gonna take it one day at a time. we all end up the same. I gotta keep that passion burning in my soul. Yeah, yeah. You will find when you get to the other side. Don't hesitate, it might be too late. You're gonna take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. When I look inside my heart, I know that now is the time to start. I've got to find my inspiration. I've got to use my imagination. I gotta keep that passion burning. Keep that passion burning. Keep that passion burning in my soul, yeah. Keep it burning. Yeah, I gotta keep that passion. Gotta keep it in my soul. Keep it burning. Keep it burning, yeah. You know I gotta do it. Keep it burning. Burning, burning. Ooh, yeah. All right.
Thank you, Carol, for helping us to remember to keep the passion burning. And good morning to everyone. I'm LeRoy Zemke, Senior Pastor of the Temple of the Living God here in St. Petersburg, Florida. It is a beautiful day here, warm and sunny and bright. Spring is in full flower. I would like to read this morning from the Bible, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, beginning with the first verse. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh, time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak. And in conclusion, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. As I thought about the words of this particular scripture, it seems to apply in some way to almost every aspect of what we are experiencing at this particular time of the year in our lives. It is a unique kind of rhythm, as one might say. And while we are in a time that is unparalleled in our modern history, as we look back, there have been other pandemics at other times in the history of the world. Certainly not with as wide a breadth as we seem to see now at our particular time, and certainly we are kept abreast of this through the many layered responses of the media which all of us can follow. However, I would like to leave this day with you with several points. We must deal with our lives daily, weekly, monthly. That means we have to buy our food, eat our food, not in panic or fear, but with a gratitude that we have a safe place to live, a home, a life, and adequate food to eat. There are many on our planet, let alone in our own country, that do not have enough to eat. We must work if work indeed is available, a job is available, and be grateful in our own heart for the job that we have or the work we have, and for what has been and for what will be again. We also need to take responsibility for our own lives. We are invited by our nation, by the leaders of our nation, to be kind to one another, and certainly during this time to help others as that may be appropriate. If we see, as we look at the media, various acts of heroism, enormous feats of service, the hearts and souls of men and women and even children who have been stirred to depth to share what they can from their unique place in the culture, in families, in their professional lives, and so on. I want to encourage all of us now to remember that, as we are reminded on the media, that this is a journey we walk together. But my friends, we all have been walking this life together. Whether you have a family or an immediate group of friends, children, grandchildren, we have been walking this life together. It's really not that new. And what is important for us, though, is to remember that what we do on an individual level to keep ourselves safe also impacts other men, other women, other children. That includes our own families and the very particular women and men in our lives that we love, whatever our relationship to them may be. Another thing that I want to offer, because I think it's a time in our life where we must surrender what needs to be surrendered to the past. I've had many conversations in the past several weeks with people from different parts of the country who have lost significantly. I would say some a work, a job, and others of financial losses, and some of actual death in their own families. Only one or two that I have spoken to have had losses as a result of the virus, which is moving around the country and the world. But many have lost major opportunities that were just about to come forward. A new job, a new opportunity with a professional outreach in their lives. And we do have to let it go, because it's part of the past. We have to allow to give permission to ourselves that we are still connected to the same source that has been with us before, the same presence that's been around us throughout our whole life. And opportunities will come again. I believe that new opportunities will come out of this time for many of us. I've already heard from individual friends that I've spoken with, and what I have read in the various reports that are available online and in the news media, in the newspapers and so on, that there are lots of opportunities coming forward. And thus we need to know that even though one door closes, or two doors, or three doors, as we might call it, there are more opportunities still to come. Another thing I want to say that I feel is really very important is to allow yourself and those you know who are close to you to grieve the losses, whether they be friends, members of your family, or members of our own community, the men and women and people that we have been close to, near or far away. When we see loss, much as it is portrayed on the media, it is at times really overwhelming. But loss, beloved family, is with us always. It is not just the characteristic of this pandemic, but we do, as a culture, need to grieve the men and women that have been part of our lives and allow them their place in their journey and in our journey and in the world in which we live. But we also need to grieve a loss of job, possibly money, possibly relationship, possibly position and opportunity. That too is part of this time. And it's part of this rhythm. It's part of the season in a way that we are in. But don't close the door on the future. Do not dwell, beloved family, too long in the city of the dead, because the city of the living is right around us. It's right before us. It is ahead of us, and we are part of it. This is a time to plant, to seed new ideas. I've heard from many people who have spoken with me just in the last several weeks that they have brand new ideas that they've been waiting to implement in their lives. And now they're taking the opportunity to set this into motion. And whatever those ideas are, go with them, flow with them, step into them with confidence. This past week, I spoke with a young woman who is a college graduate at the beginning of her college life, rather at the end of her college life, but her professional life. She's looking forward to going back to school, but she's already got a job offer of 2 different big businesses that are interested in what she, as a young woman, has to offer and bring to the world community in which she lives. And I said, are you at all concerned about all of the fear that is out here in the world? She smiled and she looked at me. She looked at me very thoughtfully for a while. She said, you know, there's always going to be something to be afraid of. There's always going to be a problem that you can make bigger than it needs to be. She said, this is no more, no less the same thing. If we make it big, it's going to be bigger and more important. She said, I refuse to bury myself behind closed doors. I want to go out into the world and live my life with confidence. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you to think about that as a message that might touch you, and allow myself to touch it as well. Finally, I want to say, look forward. Affirm, as the prayer was given at the beginning of our service today, that our connection to God, the unlimited source of all life, is still available to us. It has not disappeared. We do have a lot of opportunity when we're practicing these stay-at-home requirements to get still, to pray, to meditate. I encourage that, but not just during this time. Once this has passed, let's remember to go into prayer and into meditation daily. Let's take that as a strength that is already ours and use it in our lives as a part of a new rhythm an unfolding rhythm. If we've adopted a new habit, we've changed an old habit, we've given up something that we've needed to let go of because it's time to let it go, time to get rid of it, time to bury it, so to speak, then let's stay with this new habit. So many people I hear saying, I can't wait to get back to what we used to have. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going back to what we used to have. Life will be different. At times a bit bumpy, a little bit uneven, sometimes a little fearful. At times it will look in some ways frightening, because what we have counted on in the past has changed. But that is always the way of it. That is always the way of something we are unsure of. I also had a brief conversation with a young man who is entering into a new relationship in his life. He is perhaps 28, I would say, and divorced, and now looking into a new relationship. And all of the uncertainty in the world is causing him to say, well, maybe I ought to put this on hold. Maybe I should just wait. And I asked him very seriously and sincerely, I said, why do you want to wait? Well, I don't know what's going to happen. I said, do you have any written guarantee from anyone what a relationship is going to bring forward in the future? And he smiled, he looked at me, he said, no, not really. He said, I guess it's up to me. There's your answer, my friends. The future is up to us. So in conclusion this morning, once again, I want to repeat, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Thank you. And now we're going to be joined by our lovely Carol, who will inspire us standing on the promises.
Thank you. That was wonderful. That's so true. So I'd like to ask all of you that are watching this if you would like to join in and sing this song. It's another Karen Drucker song. It's called I Am So Blessed. And as you're singing it, I want you to think about the blessings that you have, because so often we think about the things that are gone and we're missing. But think about what you have. You've got, family that loves you, many things, but go ahead and join with me wherever you are. Go ahead and join in and sing the song with me. It's very easy. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. Sing it out there. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so